In order for your team to move on, someone must sacrifice themselves, meaning that they will have to, at their own will, walk away from $5 million.
Let's kill this guy. Let's beat him to death with hammers.
Mr. Beast is pretty much a sociopath with seemingly endless resources, and I can't blame him for doing what he is rewarded by society for, especially when even Netflix is getting into the action. And this isn't going to be a video just talking about how nobody gets Squid Game and media literacy and yeah. But it's important to have some context for stuff I'm going to talk about later in this video and connect it to current events. The creator of Squid Game created this series due to his family struggling during South Korea's debt crisis and has been quoted as saying, "I wanted to write a story that was an allegory or a fable about modern capitalist society, something that depicts an extreme competition, somewhat like the extreme competition of life. But of course, capitalists are going to capitalize." Real-life Squid Game shows started popping up along with the pressure to make a season 2, which I can't completely blame Dong Hyuk for because he barely got any money from season 1 because he was paid through the original contract and not from any bonuses or residuals. He didn't even really want to make a season 2, but he had to make the money, and now he's just sick of it. But if the story is hypercritical of capitalism, why are these rich producers and media empires recreating its horror story into real life? Besides the obvious answer of money, we'll dive into the past for some useful insight. As Guy Debord once wrote, "The spectacle is able to subject human beings to itself because the economy has already totally subjugated them. It is nothing other than the economy developing for itself. It is at once a faithful reflection of the production of things and a distorting objectification of the producers." Now, what does this mean? In simple terms, the spectacle, aka these forms of media, are forthright with their depictions, but with the producers, the people who compete and produce the actual entertainment, are distortedly represented as willing and non-objectified participants. Game and talent shows have long been a huge part of television entertainment, offering viewers controversial spectacles and tight competitions. But despite all the humorous social media posts and trending hashtags they attract, these shows, which I will refer to as the reality competition genre, are often dystopian and highlight the issues plaguing the working class. These shows, which often feature participants vying for life-changing amounts of money, operate by using the personal and mental struggles of individuals as a form of voyeuristic enjoyment for audiences. The reality competition genre blurs the lines between entertainment and exploitation, reflecting a broader societal trend where human hardship and conflict becomes a commodity to be consumed. A fundamental element of most game shows is the promise of wealth, typically a large amount of money beyond what the average contestant probably makes in a year. This dynamic places them in a vulnerable position where their desperation for money becomes the driving force behind their participation and pushes them into risk-seeking behavior at their own detriment. Now I know what you're thinking. Ozzy, they chose to go on the game show and take those risks and do the task. And you'd be right, but here's the thing. Objection! Game show producers are acutely aware of the contestants' motivations, and they design the format to heighten this desperation even more. The tension, uncertainty, and emotional stakes are emphasized to make the contestants' journey as dramatic and traumatic as possible for the audience's enjoyment. As contestants face increasingly difficult challenges and or decisions, their desperation to secure a better future is worsened. Subsequently, we as the viewers become so invested in the chaos and the adrenaline of whether they win or not, we don't even ask why this is a thing or even notice all the fucked up shit going on. The show Fear Factor leaned heavily into the concept of pushing people to their breaking points, making them perform tasks that were not just physically uncomfortable, but often mentally and emotionally distressing. The challenge of being forced to eat live insects or crawl through vats of bugs wasn't just about bravery, it was about exploiting the contestants' need for validation, money, their phobias, and other things. For many, the offer of a significant cash prize or the promise of becoming a Fear Factor champion outweighed the very real risks involved. From the possibility of injury to the psychological toll of enduring extreme physical repulsion or fear. This dynamic created a situation where the contestants' desperation to win or be seen as strong often overshadowed their personal well-being. I mean, Joe Rogan literally had people chug donkey cum and urine for $50,000 that the majority of will probably get taxed anyway. And the episodes for that instance actually didn't even air because the producers and the entertainment company, they were like, yeah, Joe, you're fucking what the fuck is going on? Another example is America's Next Top Model. I used to watch a lot of cooking shows and fashion shows with my mother growing up, so those are the main reasons why I can serve food, but also serve cunt. America's Next Top Model was a reality show that, while initially praised for giving aspiring models a platform, ultimately thrived on the degradation of women's appearances and perpetuated harmful beauty standards. The show reduced contestants to their physical features, constantly measuring their worth against rigid, often unrealistic expectations of beauty. Judges, including host Tyra Banks, frequently criticized the contestants' looks, bodies, and even personalities in ways that reflected a deeply ingrained misogyny. One of the most problematic elements was how the show leaned into body shaming, fat phobia, and a narrow definition of attractiveness. Contestants were often criticized for gaining weight, being too short, and in one instance, being too lesbian.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Some controversial moments include Tyra Banks ridiculing a woman for her teeth gap, making a contestant pose as a corpse after finding out her friend overdosed, and ignoring a contestant getting sexually harassed.
Manuel eventually told the guys to stop grabbing her butt, but the damage was already done. Kenya left the set upset and worried that the final image she would be judged on in panel would affect her chances of being eliminated.
The show's infamous before and after transformations also often highlighted drastic makeovers, where women were coerced into changing their looks to fit certain ideals, sometimes at the cost of their own mental and physical health. Tyra herself has apologized in recent years for some of the damage done by the show, particularly for the way contestants were treated in certain cycles. While the show brought attention to the modeling industry, it also left behind a legacy of toxic beauty standards and an environment where women were pitted against each other for their worth. There are entire deep dives about how fucked up this show was, so if that's up your alley, you should check these videos out. Reality competition as an entertainment source inherently commodifies physical and financial struggles, turning pain and ambition into consumable entertainment for us, the viewers. Contestants are often chosen not for their skills or talents, but for their personal stories of adversity. These narratives are carefully crafted and woven into the fabric of the show, even if they're organic, making the personal challenges of contestants the very heart of the spectacle. The audience is invited to emotionally invest in these stories, blurring the line between empathy and entertainment. What was once a simple competition becomes an exhibition of human suffering and hope, where contestants' emotional highs and lows are transformed into moments of voyeuristic entertainment. I mean, even from the intro, the fact that people signed up to play the Beast games and then had to be sent home is kind of crazy. I mean, if I sign up for 5 million and let's say I have student loans, or my mother is sick, or, you know, my dad needs a kidney transplant, it's kind of fucked up for me to sign up on the show and Mr. Beast is like, this guy needs to vote himself out. Isn't this crazy, to save his entire row? And the process is kind of unsettling. Viewers comfortably seated in their homes are encouraged to spectate as people's vulnerabilities and failures unfold in front of them, often without any consideration of the larger societal structures that have shaped these struggles. This commodification of hardship distorts reality, turning genuine human suffering into a form of entertainment that distracts from the root causes of inequality. It also at its core has an inherent class-based dynamic. While the participants may come from various walks of life and capital, the system inherently favors those with higher social capital, such as better access to education, networking, or financial resources. For example, the participants who perform best on quiz-based shows like Jeopardy are often those who have had access to extensive education or a more privileged background. Those without these advantages, although they may possess a certain intelligence or skill, are at a disadvantage in this environment. Obviously, as I brought up earlier in the video, people sign up for these shows and everybody can't win. However, game shows obscure the systemic inequalities that often shape contestants' lives. They encourage viewers to focus on the personal failures or successes of individuals, diverting attention away from the larger issues of economic inequality, access to education, and social mobility that leads people to these places. And this creates a distorted narrative where the real issue, society's inability to offer equal opportunity, is masked by the entertainment value of watching people's individual struggles unfold on screen. The increasing normalization of ridiculing people, even outside of game shows, is a very serious sign of societal decay. Game shows inherently thrive on inequality and human suffering. By exploiting people's desperations, aspirations, and vulnerabilities, these shows reduce individuals to mere pawns to a broader spectacle of wealth and fame. The promise of financial freedom and social mobility becomes a hollow illusion, distracting viewers from the reality of systemic poverty and inequality. As these programs continue to dominate the cultural landscape and get more and more insane and intricate, they raise important ethical questions about the boundaries of entertainment and the exploitation of human struggle for profit. The dystopian element of game shows reflect a society where personal hardship is commodified, and the line between entertainment and exploitation becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish. The same way you should watch some of these shows and go, is this actual entertainment and competition, or is it just torture? If you got this far, thank you for watching. I don't really have much to say for this part of the video. It's been a long week, so see you guys in the next video, whatever that is and whenever it is. But thank you for all the support, and yeah.